Hello everyone, I am so excited that you are here. Today we are going into our part 2 of our Dueling Sluices with Michael from MT Treasures. Several weeks ago, what we did, we got together and we were talking about if my $50 plastic sluice box was missing any material, because I would run my material through my sluice box and it would empty out into my gold pan. And so anyhow, what we did in this episode, I took everything that emptied out into this gold pan, and then also from what I panned out in my panning station, is I took every bit of that washout and I brought it over to Michael from MT Treasures. And what he did, he ran it through his sluice box and he captured all the material. And so we are going to get to the end result of my process, of his process, and find out how much more precious materials I got, or what he got, from our process. And it's going to give me a big indicator on what I should do or what I shouldn't have to do. So let's get into it and let's get into this process. Here we have our ore heating up because it makes it easier to break up and to crush. And you can see what our ore looks like after it's been heated up and how easy it is to break up, and then also to crush it in our rock crusher. Here is how I sluice and wash out my material. This is the concentrate that I got out of our 11.5 pounds of ore. Our gold bead weighs 0.013 of a gram.
Welcome to Dueling Sluices. If you want to know what I'm talking about, I would like to thank Ernie Dion for that awesome lead-in to this. And what we're basically doing is, myself and KBE needed something a little more than just a plastic sluice, that you might want to consider some type of matting, because here we deal with a lot of ore going out to the mines and the mining areas. So we have a great deal of sulfide. Sulfides are nothing more than sulfur that came up through volcanic activity and penetrated this material. And oftentimes what will happen is some of those sulfides get real heavy because they may contain little pieces of ore or precious metals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run, these are Ernie's concentrates, and I'm going to run these concentrates, and we are going to see if there is a part 2 to the the legend of Ernie's lost gold. And you want to hear the original, please go to the Mahoney Mine site, and you can see the story of the legend of Ernie's lost gold. So we are going to run this material, classify it out, and see if he's losing any of his gold. What I'm doing is I'm actually brushing back this material to try to get the lighter stuff to move on. And of course, the heavier stuff will not. So I brush it back, try to move it along.
So you get trapped on air bubbles and stuff, right, honey?
They do in the black mat. In the miner's moss and blue matting on this machine, no. This is the bucket of concentrates we got. There's not a great deal. There's not a whole lot of them in here, but there is a lot more than Ernie collected. And I put some in here as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan this out. And I'm going to pan this down to concentrates, and I'm looking for around 100 grams. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and pan this out and let it dry out, and then we'll smelt. Then we'll smelt it and cupel it and see if we get anything. What or if we get. So the first thing we're going to do is add a little water to it. It's already a little wet because it came out of the sluice. And what we're going to do is we're going to agitate this briskly to make sure that the heavies find their ways down to the bottom. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tilt this at a slight angle while we run water through it and help wash off some of the material. Now, some may think, oh, you're being a little vigorous with that, but that's okay. Gold is extremely heavy, and so is silver and lead. If you're vibrating it properly, it'll sink to the bottom, and you won't have to worry about what you're doing. The ridges in the pan will hold it in place. Okay, so out of everything we collected, oh, that's probably less than a quarter pound of material. This is going to be the material I'm going to be smelting. I'm not expecting there to be a lot in it, but I am expecting some to be in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set this out, and we're going to let it dry. Okay, so I ended up with about 70.7 grams of material out of the tailings Ernie sent after he sluiced them. And I mixed up 140 grams of flux, 40 grams of litharge, and 40 grams of borax. We're going to get this in the smelter and see if we come up with anything. Stay tuned. Okay, there's the hot slag cooling down. And yes, sir, Ernie, I used a brand new 6K crucible to ensure there was no contamination. So we're going to let it cool down, and here in about an hour we'll come out and we'll pull it and see what type of lead pearl we got. Then cupel that down and see if there's going to be a part 2 to Ernie's lost gold. Stay tuned. Okay, we smelted that material, and we ended up with a lead pearl. And the lead pearl is going to weigh in at 9.3 grams. Wow, that's actually pretty good. So let's smelt it. Let's go ahead and cupel it down. Okay, here's that lead bead we're getting ready to fire up to cupel here. And I'm hoping for good things. I normally don't get beads this large with the litharge when using around 43 grams. So we'll see. Hopefully there are good things in there. Stay tuned for the end results. Well, it looks like, in fact, we did find a nice little pearl of gold there. I don't know if mine will want it, but when it cools, I'll pull it off and see. But yes, it would appear that Ernie is losing approximately this much gold anyway in the last batch he ran. Combined with what he found, his pearls would probably be a little larger. As you can see, we actually do have a little gold pearl here. I don't know if it'll register in the hundreds, but we're going to send it back to Ernie because I do know that his will register in the thousands. So he can compare what he got as to what he lost. So let's see if we can get this weighed. And we will drop it into the pan here. And we have absolutely nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a little plastic container. I'm going to send it back to Ernie because he goes up into the thousands. So I know this thing is going to weigh. So we're going to throw it in there, send it to him, and let him do the final weigh-in. So just like in tennis, Ernie, I'm going to be Serena Williams, and bam! Back to you, brother.
for the final conclusion.
1 out of 10. 0 point down.
That's a good steady read right there. This is my gold bead, and you can see that it doesn't weigh much more than Michael's. So you may be asking, Ernie, what changes are you going to make to your sluicing process? Here we have a 10-inch by 36-inch dream mat, and I do have a spare high banker that I will take apart and use this inside the high banker. It's an old Keen high banker, and we'll use that to build our new sluice box, and I'll add some other material inside there, and we'll see how this will capture my gold. And then we will run this stuff. We'll run the washout to Michael from MT Treasures again, and we'll see if I'm missing any concentrate out of this dream mat and whatever other material I'm going to add with this. Before we conclude this episode, I just want to say a great big thank you to Michael from MT Treasures for your support and your help and your knowledge and educating me and working with me on these dueling sluices, because to me, I'm having a blast. And for those of you our subscribers, I encourage you to be involved with us, learn as much as you can, and grow your process of your gold prospecting and your gold mining, and enjoy life, have fun. And that's why we're here. We're so glad that you're here. And Michael, thank you so much. And I encourage you to watch the upcoming episodes of our Dueling Sluices with me and Michael from MT Treasures. Well, here is Michael from MT Treasures, and he did show me that I am losing some sulfides in my concentrate on the way that I have been sluicing my material. And so when it comes to dueling sluices, I have been taught a very good lesson, which is a lesson that I needed to find out, because I have been losing quite a bit of gold, and I appreciate Michael for teaching me this. And of course, I will let you know, Michael's been a rock hound ever since he's been a young boy, and you've had family members that taught you this and things.
Yes.
Yeah, and tell us about the history of what you've learned.
Well, basically, I've always been a geologist ever since a kid. And my grandfather was a medicine man in a local tribe. He was Cherokee. And basically, it's just the way I was raised. And I loved it and got into it. And I got several degrees in colleges, 3 in the sciences. And I took geology as electives in college. So graduated magna cum laude, yada, yada, yada.
So I want to encourage each of you, if you have any deep questions, ask this guy. He'll give you a much better answer than I would, which is okay with me, because that's what we love about this, where we collaborate with one another and we learn from one another. And as we progress together in the future, we will be doing really well. So anyhow, I would encourage you to check out Michael and Teresa. That's what MT stands for, on MT Treasures. You can catch them on my community page. And once again, Michael, I appreciate your hard work and you educating me in this process. And we hope that you guys have learned something from this episode. And so if you like this episode, we encourage you to smash that like button, not only on this channel, but also on MT Treasures channel, and to share this on your channel so others can enjoy this procedure, so they can learn as well. And if you haven't subscribed to either of our channels, I would encourage you to subscribe and become part of our AU family. We'd love to have you in the family. We thank you for your support, and we will see you on the next one.